All right, we're getting ready to put the new window gaskets in. So I'm just gonna kind of record the whole thing as it's going. And wish us luck again. Alrighty, well, first off, we took a metal block and a rubber mallet and really carefully, tapped the metal bar between the two pieces of glass, the slider and the non-sliding part of the window. Then we realized that we needed to remove the gasket in order to get the post out, and so it took us a few minutes because that sucker's really in there, but we got that off and then grabbed the wooden block and the mallet, and very gingerly, so we didn't break the windows or the bar, tapped that out and pulled it out and set it aside. And then I took the gasket off of the other side as well. And then my husband cleaned off the window with some Windex, just to get it clean, and then cleaned off the suction cup things and put those on just to give me something to grip onto when we finally, got the window loose from the track, or the frame, I guess. And then he went inside, and with the little pry bar tool thing that he has for, I guess he has a kit or something for glass removal in vehicles, and so he has a little tool to pry it away from the old sealant. And I held onto the glass from the outside to, number one, make sure it didn't just, fall on the ground and shatter, and number two, so that once it was free, I could take it out and place it nicely in the yard and then celebrate because it didn't break. And then after that, we went ahead and cleaned up the track really well. There was a lot of sealant left over, and this stuff is like tar, black, sticky, gooky, not particularly fun to mess around with. And we took a plastic scraper guy and just kind of went at it. And we were careful to save the spacers that were stuck into the old sealant, because the spacers help make sure that you've got the glass centered in the right place, so that the gaskets will actually fit around it and won't be too far off in any direction, so that you can't actually squeeze the gaskets in there. And so this was not a particularly fun task, but just scrape and wipe and scrape and wipe, and eventually we got it all out. And then from there it was a matter of cleaning out the track, cleaning off the residue from the old sealant, and especially cleaning the bottom track and the top track where the glass slides, because that was really, really dirty and pretty gross. And from this point, we tried to remove the old window latches that lock the windows when they're closed, but we had a lot of trouble with it because the screw didn't want to come out of the backer part. I don't even really know what the name of that would be, but we had to eventually take my husband's Dremel and kind of notch it out so we could put a flathead screwdriver on the one side and then put the Phillips on the other so we could unscrew it and get that latch off. We didn't get it off here. We ended up getting it off later, but that's what we're talking about here and kind of arguing about here. I don't know. But yeah, so you take off the latch, we put in new latches, and then we slid the slider over, and the screen, slid that over, and really, really cleaned that track super well, so that the slider wouldn't have any trouble. It was kind of hard to open and close before we cleaned it really well, so it's just 40 years of gunk you gotta take off, but we wanted to make sure everything was really nice and super clean. Once the window track was cleaned, to our satisfaction, whatever we thought was good enough, we went to cleaning off the glass that we had taken out, and it had a lot of the gooky sealant left on it. And so, you know, we took a scraper to it all the way around on all sides except for the part that had the metal post in it. And then my husband took some mineral spirits just to get the rest of the residue off, just again to get it really nice and clean. And once he got all the residue off of it, then he took some Windex and made sure it was super nice and clean before we put it back in. So by this time, it was kind of later in the afternoon. We took the awning down just to shade us while we were working. My parents came over for a visit, so I was kind of chatting with them. And then, you know, we took the new sealant in the caulk gun, and I just kind of put a nice little bead around the bottom and the side and the top. I kind of had to use my best discretion with this because I wasn't quite sure exactly how much to use. And then I put the spacers back in to center the glass once it was in, and then we went ahead and put the glass back in. But as you'll see here in a second, I didn't quite put enough of the sealant on the side, so I had to go back in there. We just kind of tilted the glass out and added a little bit more just to make sure it had a good seal. And then once we got that all figured out and taken care of, and we were able to tilt the glass back in and take a look around it, readjust the spacers, you know, make sure everything was all good and nice and tight and ready to go. Then we were able to take the non-slider gasket, the new one, and just kind of slide that in, and this one went in quite nicely. It went in easily, it went in quickly, and was generally a stress-free experience. The slider gasket, on the other hand, was a big giant pain in the ass, or I guess pain in the thumbs. When we watched the tutorial before doing this, everybody was like, well, we hope you have thumbs of steel or a tool, because these slider gaskets are very, very difficult to get in. And, you know, we knew that coming in. We had an idea, but these things, I tell you what, were so slow going in, so difficult, so, you know, such a big giant pain to get in. And my poor husband, I mean, he was quite a trooper with this one. He did the whole window, that side of the window for the slider gasket, and his poor thumbs were just not happy afterward. And I'm not even quite sure what kind of tool you could get to put these in to make it easier on you, but we didn't have a tool, and so my husband had to use his, you know, software engineer hands to squish that in there and get that all done. All right, that's one window with a new gasket. Yay! My husband has very sore thumbs right now. Look how beautiful that is. So hopefully that will keep this from leaking any longer. Hooray! And the screen's still really gross and dirty, but ta-da! So beautiful. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I think I'll go ahead and post an update video, just a real quick thing when I get when we get the driver's side window gasket done. I don't know when we're going to do the back windows, but we'll see. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later.